Are you out of shape? Are you tired? Do you lack motivation? You know you're supposed to strength train. You're supposed to do your cardio. It improves all your life. It's hard to stay motivated. You got to call my man, Captain Cranberry. He'll take all the guesswork out. You pay him a little bit of money. It's very affordable. You show up. He motivates you. You get some eye candy looking at Captain Cranberry. Your workout goes like that. A month down the line, you got that six-pack. Then you're teaching those classes, and you're letting somebody look at you making their workout go by. Sound like a good dream? Well, make that reality. First lesson is on the Militia MMA podcast. So call my man Dylan at 951-634-5008. Again, that's 10-8 personal training. Call Captain Cranberry, 951-634-5008. Or follow him on Instagram, like you follow everybody else, you sneaks. This podcast is brought to you by the most exclusive and elusive foundation in all of northern Georgia and southern Tennessee. This foundation is so exclusive, I don't even know who the other guy is. Who's Brown? I don't know. Must be really important because I have no idea who he is. Whitworth, I know who that is. That's cool. I'm lucky to know him. So maybe I'll meet Brown one of these days. Thank you, Brown and Whitworth Foundation, for sponsoring the podcast. Tony Starks is the Iron Man that saved the world. Tony Mullins is the Iron Man that saved your house from being destroyed. You spent a lot of money on your house. You need to keep it up to date. Some things like appliances can wait, but you know what can't wait? That roof. So you know what you got to do? You see a puddle, a wet spot up there, you call Iron Man. That's Iron Man Tony Mullins at Affordable Roofing. He'll come by. He'll check it out. He's not trying to rip you off. Call my man, Iron Man Tony Mullins, at 423-593-9605. Again, call Iron Man, 423-593-9605. That's Affordable Roofing, servicing all your Chattanooga and North Georgia roofing needs. Nashville, sorry, you're fucked. Your time is valuable. It's worth a lot of money. Do you want to be spending hours cleaning, or do you want to be living life? Well, let me tell you something. My guys, Steve and Bobby, their time is not worth shit. And they will clean everything. That's elite cleaning and power washing. They service all of North Georgia and Chattanooga. Again, their time is not as valuable as your time, so that makes them super affordable. You would be stupid to spend hours wasting your time when they could do it in a fraction of the time and better. So call Elite Clean Chattanooga. Contact my man Bobby Cook at 423-389-4771. Again, that's 423-389-4771. Or visit them online at www.elitecleanchattanooga.com. Tell them Tom sent you. Welcome to the Militia MMA podcast. I'm your host, Tom the Tank Galicchio, and I am super excited about this episode. In fact, I couldn't sleep, so I had to overcompensate with coffee, and now I got the jitters and still am tired. But we got royalty here. We got the one, the only, Bryan McGrath, a.k.a. King Bree. How you doing, Bryan?
Hey, Coach. I'm good. Good to be here.
I'm excited to have you on, Bryan.
I'm excited too. Thanks.
Especially because I got a whole bunch of loaded questions and that you haven't been able to know a part of it.
All right.
So,
sounds good.
So let me ask you this. What is a MeatHawk?
Well, to be truthful, I don't really know. In this gym, it describes a person larger in stature, and that describes me perfectly. So,
You used it to describe yourself.
what's that?
You came up with the term to describe
I
yourself.
did, Bobby.
Handy, still a member.
Yes, if he's out there listening, I miss you. Come back. I'd love to see you.
You're going to get a call this week
Yeah, hopefully.
or next week.
But yeah, I was hitting pads with Bobby, and he said I had a hard kick, and I'm like, well, it's just this whole MeatHawk leg I have. And then from there, the MeatHawk was born.
That was, oh yeah, he couldn't handle it. He had to stop holding pads.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's actually, I find it an endearing term.
I do too. I've had a couple nicknames here, but that's one that stuck, and I like it.
It's not really like a nickname because it's more of like a species. It's like like you got to specify as a MeatHawk.
Yes, yeah.
And it doesn't just mean like big. It could mean like really, really broad shoulders.
Yeah.
If you're big, you're a MeatHawk too. So that doesn't exclude the big people.
Yeah.
Alvin's a MeatHawk.
Alvin is a MeatHawk.
Because he's really tall.
He's got broad shoulders too, Alvin.
And broad shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
He's a MeatHawk with abs, which is a rare species.
Very rare. Very rare. Usually we don't have abs. Just one big one.
And now there's a thin line between MeatHawk and Meathead, right?
I think so.
Chris Gordy's a shout out, always, every episode, is a Meathead, right?
More of a meathead than a MeatHawk, for sure.
If he was a little taller, I think he might be a MeatHawk.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, for his stature, if he was taller or shorter, he would be a MeatHawk.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree.
But he's been doing a little less. He's more of just a giant chest muscle with arms.
He lifts a lot. I think.
He lifts a lot.
Yeah.
So Daniel's kind of on that cusp.
He's on the cusp too.
I think
he's just a meathead smasher. That guy.
Yeah. He's got the credentials to back up the meatheadness. The ringgold brawler brawling through
in the flesh.
In the flesh. So he's kind of
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. No, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah, he shows
Monday,
up.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, that's right.
How you can find Daniel.
Yeah.
He's actually supposed to come in today, but it was a Friday.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I'll come in today, but it's Friday. So, that overtook it all.
Yep. So that's a MeatHawk, yeah. So that's if you hear that in the gym and you don't know what it is, just look around for the big person. That's us.
Yeah. Well, Austin too.
Yeah. That 6'10" goofy guy that hasn't been here for a while, but yeah.
You want to know what's something funny? Somebody tall I saw on Facebook said they got the cops called on them because there's this 6'10" Alabama guy on the loose who escaped parole. Or 6'9", and that's Austin's exact height.
Oh, from prison? I saw that in the news.
Yeah, and all I could think is Austin.
It might be his cousin or something.
How many 6'9" white guys are there from Alabama?
Not many, especially on that mountain he keeps talking about.
And he's so mysterious.
Oh, he's so mysterious.
And he hasn't been here in a couple months. He'll be like,
unmistakable.
He's like, I'll be here in October when the statute of limitations. I mean, when work schedule change.
Yeah, that's about right. I talked to him last week. He said he's losing weight still, and I don't believe him, but that's what he said.
He's just like, I replaced foods with cigarettes.
Yeah, that's him. Marlboro Man out in the parking lot.
You know what?
Class.
I love that about it.
Yeah.
I'm not like, you come to this gym, you can't smoke cigarettes. Well, if you smoke cigarettes, you got to be healthy to support your habit.
There you go.
That's it. Checks and balances.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm not like an anti-smoker or anything. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Don't smoke in my gym.
Yep.
But if you do smoke, wash your hands. That's generally a nice thing to do. But I'm not going to tell anybody not to do anything.
Right. But you're also Austin takes the stance where it's good for you. That I can't get behind. He's a little goofy in that regard, but he's gonna do him.
He's gonna do him.
Yeah.
He didn't come here to get somebody to yell at him about habits.
Right.
So, what brought you to the gym?
Last week's guest, Dylan Kennedy, his wife, and my mom are in the same organizational side of the church.
So you're a Mormon as well.
I'm Mormon as well. And, Janelle started talking to my mom. She said, I do jujitsu. I really like it. And my mom said, hey, my son really likes that. He's done a little bit of it. And then she passed on the information. And
So you've trained before?
oh, very, very, very lightly. Yeah, I've probably done, before I came here to Militia, I'd done maybe 3 jujitsu classes and maybe 3 or 4 months of Muay Thai.
So you did more Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu than jiu-jitsu?
Yep. Jiu-jitsu, even here when I started, it was an uphill battle. I didn't feel comfortable on the ground. I've always been larger, so I didn't want to like crush my opponent. There's just a lot of mental blocks to get me to roll. Where striking is just standing up and, you know, I'm bigger, so I had a little power. I thought I was better at it, and now it's just completely switched.
Now you don't do much striking.
Last 3 months, I had an elbow injury, and you know it's probably more of an excuse than anything. I need to get
probably
back to
a couple of bone chips in there that come and go. That's probably
it
from
felt like
hyperextension.
something was moving in there.
Yeah, that's from hyperextension, and bone chips are like the size of a grain of sand.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It felt like something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they could come in and come out, and if it inhibits it where it like can't stop moving, then you probably shouldn't come in. So it's probably normal just when they're in there. Yeah. Just throw right hands and kicks.
I need to get back to it. I really like striking, but I've kind of really gotten into jiu-jitsu lately, and it's been on my mind. Like if I have a spare moment, I pull up YouTube. It's usually a jiu-jitsu video I'm watching.
And now are you still, you said you wanted to do a smoker kickboxing. Do you still want to do that?
Yeah, I do.
Do you want to compete in jiu-jitsu more though? Yeah,
that's probably top on my list. You know, I just want to get to the point where I feel like I'm not going to gas out. I'm not going to embarrass the school or anything like that.
You don't have to worry about that.
I know. You say that, but like it's something I put on myself where I want to get to a level.
I mean, I'll get embarrassed, but nobody can embarrass themselves more than I've embarrassed myself on the highest of stages. So like, yeah, you might embarrass yourself, but did you embarrass yourself in front of 1 million viewers?
No, maybe not.
So it's
but yeah, that's definitely on the list. I want to see where I'm at, rolling, and so I think there's a tournament in August that I think I'm gonna sign up for.
What about?
What's that?
What is it?
I think it's the Chattanooga tournament in August.
All right, that's our next tournament. You hear it.
Yeah. So
even if there's a fight that night, because I know there's going to be one in August.
Okay.
We're going to do that Chattanooga tournament as a team.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna first start out, and I'd like to compete more. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think that's a good way. I think jiu-jitsu is great for big guys. But although big guy jiu-jitsu is different.
That's what I'm learning. I see a lot of people in class that are smaller, able to do a lot more moves that I never even feel like I can try those.
But then you're going against people who can't try them to you. Too.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
It's almost easier because all you got to do is learn a little more physics, like how to stay heavy on somebody, which is kind of my thing. I know how to stay heavy on people for just being a little guy.
Yeah, you feel like 400 pounds.
Yeah, and it's just taking your weight and learning how to turn it into a softball-sized spot on the spot that's keeping them from coming up.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of big guy jiu-jitsu. And then putting them in such bad positions and passing because there's such a lack in mobility for your guys' body type. What are you, about 260?
Oh, no, I'm 290 right now.
Oh.
When I started the gym at, I walked in the first week in March is when I signed up. I was almost 360. I was
so let's go back to that real quick. We straight away. So Janelle talked to your mom about coming into the place.
And she sent me the website. And it's funny, I'm a huge UFC fan since 2000. Before I left on my mission, so that was 2007, beginning of 2008. I always saw the WC. I was on like free TV.
So yeah, you were about, my big time of watching was like 2006 to 2015.
Yeah, so the guys I came up watching were like Uriah Faber, Donald Cerrone, those guys in the WC.
Frankie Edgar,
Gray Maynard. Miguel Torres, if you remember him.
I trained with Miguel Torres.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he was my favorite to watch back then.
He used to come and train with us down in Jersey.
That's awesome. Yeah.
When he was at the height of his career.
Yeah, Miguel Torres. And,
my old coach, Kurt Pellegrino, fought Joe Stevenson for the title.
Oh, nice.
Not for the title, for number one contender to lose to BJ Penn.
Oh, I got you. BJ Penn, yeah. I met BJ Penn in Hawaii.
How is he? Cool?
He was a little standoffish. I got in on the last little bit of meeting him. He came into the AT&T store that I was working at. And my boss knew I was a huge UFC fan, so he's like pushing me to meet him. I felt a little awkward, you know. And he was really nice.
He was probably getting a phone and was a little stoned.
Yeah.
So probably like he was trying to do his thing, and then everybody's like, Bryan's this fan.
Yeah,
and then like putting that build up.
Yeah, I felt a little awkward, but he was nice to me. I shook his hand, and he was real chill. Yeah,
and I hear he's like one of the coolest guys.
Yeah, I got that vibe. He was just a little, understandably, you know.
Yeah, you're at the cell phone store just trying to get your day, and then someone's build. And when the build up makes it worse.
That's fair, yeah. And like that was part of the anxiety going to meet him, you know. It's just like, I'm such a huge fan. He doesn't know the hell I am, you know what I mean? Yeah. But he gets all the time. He was a pro. You know, he was great, you know.
He knew how to handle it.
Yeah, he knew how to handle it. So but yeah, so I started with those and then I was a huge fan, did a few classes, but never really found a school that like maybe I was a fan of. And then when Janelle told my mom, I had watched 2 seasons of Ultimate Fighter, and you happened to be on both of the seasons I watched. And I pulled up the website. I saw the missing tooth. I didn't even have to look at the name. I knew it was Tom Galicchio.
Yeah, I'm a little distinct in voice and face.
Very distinct. Yeah, very distinct. Like I can think back and remember I was in Daniel Graham's house in Provo watching the Ultimate Fighter. And you know how they do that back screen behind you?
Yeah.
So like you were lit up, but like the black screen was behind you, and your missing tooth was black too. And I just remember it so clearly hearing you talk. And so I'm like, oh shoots, this is a legit like capital G guy. I'm going to the school. So she told me on Friday. I messaged the website on Saturday. Steph messaged me back, told me the schedule, and I was there Monday morning. And that's how I found Militia. So,
and it's so funny because I was like, you told me you trained a little bit for a couple. I'm like, oh, this guy's experienced. I got to make sure everything's perfect, or he's gonna think I'm full of shit, not knowing. You never made mention like, oh, I seen you from this. You just came here and you're like, oh, I trained a little before.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, this guy's trained. And like anytime I see a higher belt or somebody says they trained, I always get like nervous. I definitely get a little bit nervous that they're going to be like, oh, this guy sucks. This guy's this. Oh, no. This coach back home, it's the shit. And sometimes people think that and they're wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm sure sometimes they are the shit. I
don't know about that, man. Like I tried, the first jiu-jitsu gym I walked into was just a room in the back of an actual like workout gym that had weights and everything like that.
And a lot of people start there, like Ryan Hall started there.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's usually you could start cheap and build the membership base and bring them into a building.
Yeah.
That's usually a good first step.
Yeah. I did 2 classes there. He turned out to be a fraud. Never taught us anything, never rolled with us. So I just didn't really feel a real attachment there to him. He was just off, you know. You meet somebody and it's just like, I'm not sure what your intentions are, you know.
Yeah, we'll see how this turns out, and maybe I'll like it down the line. But sometimes it never changes.
Yeah, exactly. So,
like non-comfortableness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then I found a Muay Thai school in Bend, Oregon, where I was living, and I did that for a while. Hurt my knee. And then work got busy and I gained some weight. You know, it's just hard to get back into the swing once you're out 3 or 4 months. And,
right.
And, you know, I stayed paying the membership for, you know, a year. And I kept telling them I was coming back. But then, you know, you bitch out.
You find the next. Mm-hmm. You get used to making excuses for yourself.
And that's where I was. And that's where I was before I got here, too. Just my life had been just.
What did you do before? We'll go into where you lived before, but how long have you been out here in Chattanooga?
Oh, almost 2 years now.
Before you found the gym, though.
Oh, I was out here.
Couple months?
10 months, 11 months before I found y'all.
Yeah, because we were open on the 1st. I made that a goal to be open on the 1st.
Yeah, and I came out here April of 2020.
Okay.
So March, April 2020.
April.
That's when I got out here.
Okay, so you were out here a little bit. I came out here Halloween.
Okay, yeah. So I was out here about 6 months before y'all.
Oh, nice. And then we weren't open till the 1st.
Yeah. It was good timing. Good timing all around.
Yeah, and then I think you came in February, March?
March 1st was my first month. Was my first day.
March, April, May, June. So you've been here like a month and...
Over a year.
a year and 3 months.
A year and 3 months, yeah. Yep.
That's good. And
it's gone by so fast, too, you know?
It really has.
It's like, I walk in, and I see Daniel, I'm like, oh, man, I'm never going to be that good. But I know I've improved a little bit, you know, but like...
I saw it today.
You know, it's still like, I feel like I have so much to...
Of
so
course.
much to learn, yeah, so...
You, me, everybody else.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
And then all the people who were higher belts in the past, the game changes. And if you want to be really good and still be able to compete, you got to keep up with new times. And and some of the older, it depends on what your goals are.
Yeah. I think my goals here is just being, you know, I do want to take a smoker. At one point, there's going to be a right time when I can focus on it. And I just want to get better. You know, it's fun. Like I've never found something that I've liked so much that I can struggle and incrementally get better at. I've never found that thing. And I'm attracted to people that do find that thing, like people that are specialists that have done one thing really at a high level for many years and they just have so much expertise in it. That's always been appealing to me, but I've never found that thing that I've wanted to invest that time and energy into. And I think that this is it. So
yeah, and you know, this is like, for you, it's a hobby level.
Yes.
Because it's hard to make it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's easier now than when I was fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the Contender Series,
there's more opportunity.
There's so much more. They got
it's
cards.
More mainstream too. Well, it's so mainstream now.
They got more cards to fill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they got more competition. People want to go fight for the PFL and make $1 million.
Yeah.
People got Bellator. People got stuff overseas.
One FC has just signed a huge. You have friends in One FC.
Yeah, Ton. Ton was getting paid shit, but now he's finally going to get
That's good to hear, man.
As the kids say, a bag. But he probably only got $9,000 to beat up Gary Tonin, while Gary Tonin probably got 50, 60 to lose.
Yeah.
So now Ton's going to be like,
he's a champ now. That was the championship.
That was the defending.
Oh, nice.
He won his belt making 4-4. Tonin was being a contender at 30-30, 40-40. Because people tuned in to see him, so they gave him custom fights. At the end of the day, it's a business. Conor makes the rules because most people want to see Conor. He gets the most buys. Nate Diaz makes the rules because he's a superstar. Dominic Cruz doesn't make the rules.
No.
Name a champ.
Shoot. Valentina Shevchenko.
She don't make any rules.
No rules, yeah.
She doesn't sell more than...
Let me ask you this, is there any champ that makes the rules right now in the UFC?
Ngannou's got a little bit.
A little bit.
He's a good draw. Nate, Conor, Jorge Masvidal, Colby Covington's getting there.
I think Adesanya's kind of he's on the cusp.
He can't figure out his speaking, I think. He's a little nerdy, a little he's very talented, but I think he doesn't bring anything to the microphone besides mediocre banter.
Yeah. He is kind of cringe.
He's just cringe.
Yeah.
And not like Cejudo, who owns it.
No, yeah, he's more inadvertent.
Cejudo's kind of a draw. He could get there.
Yeah.
Just because of his accolades, and he's a little over the top.
Yeah.
So you started MMA here. It's a hobby, and it's also not only that, it's a social club a little bit.
Yeah, man. The people I've met here, and that was, I mean, I think I've missed that a lot in my life. Finding I was listening to you and George's podcast, and George said something that he likes the people that like this sort of activity. And I found that as well. Like, I like not only the people here because they're cool, but the people here because we have similar interests, and the type of people that this attracts, I'm attracted to.
And everybody here is a good person.
Yeah.
Everybody, and if you're not, you probably get weeded out pretty fast.
That's true. Yeah.
Because I got a bad switch.
Yeah.
I got a bad switch.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to have your own business and you got to be around people every day, you can't be around toxic people.
No. And I've seen it all before.
Yeah. Like the crew here, I mean, I love them to death. I love coming in. I love saying hi to everybody. I love everything about the crew here. I'm less familiar with the night crew, more familiar with the morning because that's typically when I come. But yeah, I just love coming and seeing my friends, rolling, having a good time, laughing. It's a great time, man. Like, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
It's like a struggle. It's funny because it's a struggle to get out of bed. That's the hardest part. Hardest part is that 10 minutes out of bed, or when you get that first round to jump rope in.
Yeah.
But once you're in there seeing your friends, it makes it easier.
So much easier. Yeah.
It's also a switch for me in the morning and driving. It might feel like work sometimes. But once we're 5 minutes in and everything's settled and I cleaned up my mess from the night before when I was doing fight team, past Tom hates future Tom. Past Tom, after he's done sparring George and Josh, doesn't give an F about the mess he left. But morning Tom's like, oh shit! Who could possibly leave a business like this?
Asshole that left it like this.
Yeah. Past Tom, bastard.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Past Brian's an asshole for sure.
So you said you moved here. Where are you originally from?
I was born in West Lafayette, Indiana.
You were born in Indiana?
Yeah, West Lafayette. Pops was at a well, he was getting a graduate degree, a master's degree from Purdue, and he kind of talked his way into a teaching job before the professor that hired him knew he had no credentials. So he was teaching at Purdue and going to school at Purdue University, and yeah.
While he was teaching?
Yeah.
He's like, let me stay one lesson ahead.
Yeah. He was a charismatic guy, and
this was your dad?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And I think the story goes he just met the hiring manager professor on the side of the sidewalk walking to class, and he got chatting with him, and before he knew it, he was a professor at Purdue. So yeah, so I was born there. We moved to another spot in Indiana, after Indiana, Ohio, after Ohio, Virginia, Illinois to Louisiana to Arkansas, all before I graduated high school.
Okay, and then where was the first time you spent like a sizable amount of time post high school?
Post high school? Well, post high school from Arkansas, I spent 2 years in Ghana serving a LDS mission, Mormon mission.
Really? In Ghana?
Yeah, so that Ghana is in West Africa.
It's not an island, right? No, it's attached to the
Guyana.
It's not Madagascar.
No. And there's a Guyana that sometimes gets confused, but yeah, this is Ghana, West Africa. The Ivory Coast, some people are familiar with that terminology, so that's where I was. Cote d'Ivoire and Togo, real close in proximity there.
How long did you spend there?
2 years.
Wow, 2 years.
Yeah, so 2 years is kind of the norm where I was growing up. Like 2 years, 2.5 years, we'd move. And Pops wasn't in the military or anything. He was just
Was your whole family in Ghana, or did you?
Just me. It was
you
just
went
me.
for missionary work, correct?
Missionary work.
You're a
Correct.
Mormon, for
Correct.
those of you who don't know.
Yeah, so the Mormon Church, now males and females. Back when I was serving, it was primarily just males. But at 18, you're expected to go out and teach. You've probably seen them. They're the young kids, which is what they are, literally kids. I saw some the other day, and I'm like, I was never that young when I went out, but I was 18, and yeah, you go out and teach, you go out and help people, and you don't get to choose where you go. They send you. I could have went to Alabama and met Austin, but I went to
Good luck trying to convince that
I know, right?
stubborn bastard.
but I went to Ghana, and yeah, spent 2 years there. After that,
Wait. We're not going past Ghana yet.
Okay.
So, what was it like? Where did you live? So you landed off the plane.
Yeah, I
What
landed
was
off
the
the
first
plane.
thing that happened? You went to probably a gymnasium where they briefed you,
Well,
or a church.
Yeah, so what they have is a missionary training center, and they go there and they kind of teach you. You know what? I don't know what they taught us. I can't really remember. They taught us about what we should teach and how we should act.
They gave you the curriculum.
They gave us a semi-curriculum, yeah, and the teachers there were all people, and they were all West African. They were Nigerian. They were from Togo. They were from Ghana. So we kind of got accustomed to the culture for 2.5, 3 weeks, and then what happens is, you go to your mission home, and it's usually an older couple that's in charge of the missionaries for the church.
Are they usually Americans?
They're usually Americans, not exclusively, but usually.
Because
It's somebody that has usually retired, because they don't get paid to go do this. It's somebody that has the resources to spend 2 years, leave their home, spend 2 years in a different country. And I think mission presidents actually serve 3, 4, maybe years.
And it doesn't take much to live in Ghana, though.
No, it doesn't. And it's not like they have to pay rent. The church has the accommodations for the mission presidents. So I went there, and then they pair you up with somebody that's been in the field, they call it. So in the field, and then so you're the junior companion, you have a senior companion. And you go out every day and you talk to people, you teach people, you help people.
Were they inviting the people, or were
so inviting? I'll tell you what, there's a lot of differences from the nuts and bolts of the way life is here and there.
Yes.
But humanity is the same everywhere. They love their kids, they love their family, they love God, they want the best for themselves, and they're happy, way happier than people here, and they have much less. It was a very inviting culture. I never felt threatened. I felt more threatened in Baton Rouge when I was living there than Ghana. You know, I never felt threatened. Well, not never, but rarely. And it was a good time. It was a time to learn and kind of figure myself out.
Because you're a kid.
You're a kid, and that's the thing. That's the thing that I have a little bit of trouble with. You know, rationalizing in my head. I was out at Sail Creek where we're building a house, and the missionaries come visit my grandma sometimes. And they were there.
Are they Mormon missionaries?
Yeah, Mormon missionaries.
Oh, all right. They're checking in with her like, hey, what's up, Grandma?
Yeah, my grandma's a member, but she doesn't go to church. And, so they go check on her just to visit.
Make sure she's got a pulse and needs anything. That's a very nice thing.
It's very nice. It's very nice. So they were out there the other day, and I see him walking across the field that separates Grandma's house and where my mom's building. And I'm just thinking to myself, these are children. These are kids.
You're like, they don't know.
What did I know back then? What do they know right now?
They haven't lived life.
They haven't lived life.
They're 1/5 of my grandma's age.
Exactly. And so I'm a little conflicted. Like, I think back and I think forward, and I'm a little conflicted on that. But yeah, they're kids, man. So there's a finding out process, like self-discovery process that I went through in Ghana, and kind of informed the rest of my life up till now. But they're so inviting. I mean, it's literally night and day difference between living here and there.
Right.
But the commonalities that run through humanity are strong.
I noticed that in Mexico as well. Like, kind of poor section, the girl, I saw some kids. The guys wanted to impress the girl kids. The kids were just all playing, and couldn't have been the different if it was here, the Middle East, America.
Yeah.
It's
humanity.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
So why is everybody got to be so angry?
That's what I'm saying.
So you were saying, though, you see these young kids, and you're just, what did you think about, now that you're older, about the going out and, like, there's good to it because there's a lot of goods, but there's also kind of using kids as pawns a little bit?
There's a cynical way to look at it, and then there is a positive spin on it. And I find that with a lot of things in life. Like, if you choose to take the positive, or you can choose to take the negative. And usually, like everything, it's somewhere in the middle. There's some positive, there's some negative. So the positives, I got to think for myself. When you're a senior companion, you get to make the plan.
Okay.
And I turned senior pretty quick. I was able to, for the Mormons that listen would know, but I, about a year in, I was called as the assistant to the president. So typically you're paired off with a companion, and you're given a geographical area to go teach and help people in.
About how many miles radius?
It differs. So when I was in
just a village.
Yeah. So when I was in Accra, which is the capital of Ghana, right on the coast, you're given a couple neighborhoods, because it's all smashed in together. So I go 20 minutes on my bike, then I'm in somebody else's area. But out in the village, it's a wide swath of land, So
some people are farmers in that bigger land.
Oh yeah, in the village, Asuna Asunafo was the village I was in. It was an old gold mining town out in like
What were the houses? Were they huts?
mud
teepees,
huts. Mud huts. Yeah.
Strong though.
Yeah, strong enough. I mean, so they're always
If you wanted to go by and kick a wall down, you could.
No, you could not.
Okay, so
but like there's
they're MeatHawk
degradation.
proof.
They're MeatHawk proof. It's actually funny. I was a MeatHawk there too, not as big as I am now. But when I landed in Ghana, and I'm going through the streets, all the kids would call me Obolo, which means fat man.
Yeah, they're
So
like
Obolo.
They're like, look at this fat fuck trying to teach us about God who weighs 7 of us.
Yeah, exactly. Now I got down real quick.
Yeah,
I lost a lot of weight quickly, but in the beginning I was just Obolo Bruni, which is fat white man.
You fat white man. You deserved that.
I deserved it. Fair enough.
You're like, hey guys, I'm coming to the land of privilege, and you rub your belly.
Yeah.
And like, let me tell you about God.
Yeah.
And then you breathe out. You're like, hey, you guys heard fried chicken around here? How do you guys fry around here? Is there oils? Is there oils in Africa?
There's a lot.
Do they fry food?
Yeah, almost exclusively.
Really?
Yeah. Vegetable oil is very cheap. What's expensive in developing
and it kills
countries,
parasites probably if you fried food.
Not sure about that. I got a lot of parasites out there.
You were just exclusively on the French fry diet.
Yeah. Well,
like, hey, what's that monkey taste fried?
Yeah. Well, I never had monkey. I had a lot of interesting things.
Oh, you said you've eaten some very provocative things.
Yeah. Goat phallus, goat penis, balls.
How did you see that? You're like, was it on a hot dog bun? And you're like, I'll take that.
No, not exactly. When they butcher a goat out there, and they call the restaurants chop shop.
Oh, okay.
And so you go and you basically, they have a starch called fufu.
Is it a bread? It's like a flat bread.
It's not like a flatbread. It's actually like a ball of dough that's not been cooked, of potatoes and unripe plantains, which is like a starchy banana.
Yes.
And they take this large mortar and pestle and they pound it into a dough, and then they put soup over it, and then you get a piece of meat or two.
Do they heat it up?
No. The soup is hot. They have 3 soups. They have a tomato soup, a peanut soup, and a groundnut soup. Or
how's the peanut soup?
Tastes like peanut butter, but not sweet. It was kind of gross to begin with, but I got accustomed to it.
Yeah, like real peanut butter is kind of gross.
Yeah.
Kind of like, it's kind of bitter.
Yeah. But so you walk into a chop shop and you say, I'll take some fufu and 1 piece of meat. But meat over there is very valuable. So meat is skin. Like you could get a piece of cow skin, like literal cow skin, or you could get...
And it's and it's just cooked.
It's just cooked, yeah. So you chop up a whole goat, you use the absolute whole animal, and then they throw it in, cook it. And
That's good.
Yeah, it's good. And you get whatever meat they give you. So anything edible, and one thing that I found out is every part of an animal is edible.
Even the hooves?
Even the hooves.
Yeah, they are, because your dogs could...
Yeah. So if you cook it long enough, you can eat it. And that was the modus operandi out there. Like that was what it was. So, and you get used to it, and it's delicious after a while. You know, I had no problems.
It's good enough.
Yeah. And that's kind of goes back to our previous
and
point.
And then you're like, give me 2 meats, both penis, 1 for the mouth, 1 for the butt.
Maybe not.
You're like, I'm going to eat this one with my butt.
No, but snail, they have this giant, as big as your fist, African snail. That was a very...
Was it better fried?
They didn't fry that one. It
what
literally
snail tastes like? Is it
dirty
a goat?
rubber? It tastes like dirty rubber. It's gross. I have a story. I had a companion,
which is probably better than rotten food. I'd rather eat dirty rubber than rotten.
I would agree. Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do. Sorry.
I had a companion, Elder Rogers Balyajusa was his name. He was a guy out of Uganda. And they don't eat snail in Uganda. And he absolutely detested it. So we were visiting this family. And over there, if you're a missionary or you say you want to talk about Christ, they're very welcoming. Even if they don't want to see you again, they're not going to join your church. They don't care. But if you're a man of God, they want to sit you down and they want to treat you well. And this family we were at gave us a bowl full of snails, which is expensive meat out there. But we had just come from a meal that somebody else had given us, so I was already full. And like, I tasted the snail. They did not clean it well. Like, it was disgusting. And like, my companion doesn't eat it either. So I'm in a conundrum, right? I'm the senior companion. I've got to take care of this situation. I can't offend this family who was so nice to give us this expensive meal.
Yes, they're like,
and my companion has tapped out. He's not eating it. So I've got a bowl full of snail I've got to deal with. So like, and the other thing in Ghana is they want to watch you enjoy the meal that they give you. So like, they give you a bowl of snail. They're sitting down right in front. They're not eating.
They're
watching you enjoy
it.
So I got to the point where like, I put some snail in my mouth, and then she'd turn around. I'd spit it in my mouth and put it in my pocket. So like, I did this for about 30 minutes, and then we thanked her, left, and I had a snail full of pockets that I had. A pocket full of snails that I had to get rid of.
Did you go sell them somewhere else?
No, I was so mad at Bally Juica. Oh my gosh, he left me to deal with
Bally Juica.
Oh, Bally Juica. So yeah, there's a lot of It's a great place though. One day I'll go back. Such nice people. Really, really, really good experience.
Yeah, that's great to have. Like, that's probably better than any cruise ship, any on the beach vacation, anything where you could kind of learn. That was my most valuable trip. Was the one to Chechnya, where you're kind of on eggshells the whole time because the dictator hates Americans and could kill you. But it like to see a third world and see that and know how good you really got it.
Yeah, we have it good.
We have it good here.
Yeah, we do. And that was a real struggle coming back to the States. Was that you walk into Walmart and it's sensory overload. It's sensory overload. To go from like a chop shop and maybe like a store that sells like evaporated milk and Coke and some peanuts to like walking into Walmart, it was shocking.
Like, yeah, it's like you could go to this country, eat full penis, not have your cell phone, and be happy as shit. Happy as shit.
Yeah. And I think back
the
to
people live pretty long there too.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people die. They blame everything on malaria out there.
Actually, malaria is the most leading cause of death in the world.
Yeah, it is. And
so that sucks.
That sucks. Yeah. They had us take doxycycline every day. I think my stomach is still messed up from it. I didn't take it too much, actually.
Well, you got to take a prebiotic and then a probiotic. You can't take a probiotic if you fuck your stomach up without a prebiotic, because the probiotic cultures can't live until you create an environment.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, my stomach probably coming back there from parasites and doxycycline. And
so here's what you do.
All right.
You go get yourself go to Walmart. Go get a prebiotic. It's cheap. It's powder. Go get yourself a probiotic, Kefir. Kefir's a great one.
Oh, yeah.
And then also get yourself some Metamucil, because that's some soluble fiber.
Oh, that's a good idea. I might try that.
And those three things will just kind of fix your belly.
Yeah.
I've been doing those, and my belly doing a 360.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I might try that out. Yeah, I still think it's something. My brother has it too. He went to Cameroon, which is also in West Africa, and he came back with some stomach issues. So,
well, they say it's like brain, heart, and stomach. I think those are, and lungs. Those are the four major things. Everything else is just wires.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep all those things in check. And stomach and heart are big. So are lungs. Crazy that those are that. That's it. You got to just keep those things good.
Keep them healthy. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, that was Ghana. It was I mean, I have a million stories, but it was an adventure almost every day.
So now you left Ghana. Where'd you end up going after that?
Well, as per the Mormon playbook, I went to BYU, which was in
Mormon college?
Yeah, Brigham Young University, out in Provo, Utah.
What's a religious college like?
Oh, it's the worst. It's so bad. I hated it. It's and so to kind of set the stage, there's and I think every organization / church can kind of if you step back, you can kind of see a similar pattern. But there's the culture of the church, and then there's the teachings of the church. And growing up outside of Utah, I didn't get much culture of the church. I got a lot of teachings. And, you throw yourself into the culture out there, and I just hated it. I felt like everyone was fake. And I'd kind of gotten a little bit of that in my mission. So like when Utah elders came in, I had been out in Ghana for a year, and I meet these like fresh-faced new crop of Utah elders coming in. I just detested them. Yeah, because they had everything figured out. They knew the way it was. They'd been around the culture of the church, and they were kind of, like somebody walks in, they think they're hot shit with jujitsu, and it's like, you don't know,
You
man.
don't know.
You don't
Well,
know.
at the end of the day, me and you have something in common. Our fathers both passed recently.
Mm-hmm.
You find yourself thinking about life more
Mm-hmm.
and humanity and just like the next step. And
Mm-hmm.
and then like one of the big realizations I have, everything that's been written about the afterlife was by somebody who was alive.
Mm-hmm.
Just how I feel about like, oh, that's a humane way to kill the animal. How do you know you're not the animal?
Right.
This is humane. No, it's not. You're not the animal.
Yeah.
You're not.
You're not feeling it.
You're not dead. You don't know.
Yeah.
And that so many, like Catholic Church, Mother Teresa wasn't as the saint as she is. And the fact to call somebody a saint, they tried to call. I was raised Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some of the crimes they did against humanity is
mind-blowing.
pure evil
Yeah.
for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to attack my religion
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing crimes against humanity. They're getting government funding now because of all the lawsuits.
Right. Yeah. As I get older and kind of try to objectively and honestly navigate the world and its struggles and like what I'm feeling, the more I realize that everyone is in the same, like we don't know.
It's a guess, and probably a
guess.
1 in a million.
And that's kind of where, I'll always be a Mormon. It's baked into who I am. It's like trying to take salt out of a cake once it's already baked. It's like, I can't.
In this world, what piece of land you were born on is going to affect what religion you're going to be in.
Yeah.
New Jersey's Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the piece of this earth I was born on, and that's what the people in this piece of earth believe.
Mm-hmm.
So it does get baked into you, like you were saying.
It gets baked in, and I love the church in the sense that like some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, man, across the board. They're nice. They're good people. But when they say they have a monopoly on the truth, not all truth, but that's the way you're raised. If you're raised a member of the Latter-day Saint faith, you have the truth. And, as I got older and I experimented things and like you find things that were told to you as a kid aren't the reality when you're older, and you get older and you realize that everyone's wondering what's next. I mean, religion is a great way to bridge the gap of uncertainty. It gives you a scaffold and a way of living life that lets you navigate difficult times more clearly. And I love it for that. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own soul, and you've got to be honest. And that's where I feel like I've branched out a little bit. Like I have questions. I have questions about, certain ways to live life, and is there a tally at the end of the day of you've done this and this and this wrong, so now you get this reward, like.
Or you backed the wrong superhero. Oh, it was Muhammad.
You backed the wrong one.
You're wrong.
And that's
it was Abraham.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong guy. Go to hell.
Yeah, exactly. Is it like that? And I can't imagine a gracious God being like that. And Mormonism has that built in. Like, there's no hell in Mormonism.
Or a sophisticated God, too.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that?
Okay, think about this. This earth was created, and it's hard to argue evolution, right?
Very hard.
Very hard.
Almost nigh impossible to argue against it at this point.
Yes. And like it keeps evolving, and like It became organisms, and it became apes, and it became. You think something so sophisticated would have such a simple solution?
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be more complex, especially because everything's kind of to scale too, where the germs on the planet were also a planet for germs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, scale is a huge issue in and of itself, right?
Scale's usually honest. Math is usually honest. And then
that's the most honest thing that we have is math.
And then there's the theory that math could be the programming that wrote the simulation we're in.
And I think that and all of these theories are just as plausible as the next ones, right?
That's probably 1 in a million.
Yeah.
This is 1 in a million.
Yeah, so
this is a complex world.
Right. So when you say you have the truth, that's where I start to wonder, because you look around and you see all these flawed people. And everyone's flawed. And that's kind of the beauty of life, right? Like, you strive and you fail, and then you try and get to a higher level, and then you fail again and you try again. It's just a microcosm of developing yourself as a human, you know? So,
and if you say you have the truth, that kind of says, all right, stop looking.
Yeah, and that's almost dishonest in and of itself. And, you know, I always go back to this example, or this thought experiment that I've done is like, if you lived in the 1900s and you said you had the truth, and you and your wife were going to church, and your wife decided to wear jeans to church. In the 1900s, they're not having that crap. They're not allowed at church. She's going to hell. She's immodest.
And we were born naked.
So it's like, but now in 2020, like, if someone wears jeans to church, it's like, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
if it's a good church.
Yeah, in 1900, you're going to hell because you're provocative. In 2020, you're a righteous member of the church. We're glad to see you. Like, it's, so there's this idea that I have of the man-made structure of religion and what the gospel is for the universe. And that's kind of what I'm trying to parse, and I'm probably sounding super pretentious, but this is interesting stuff to me. Like, this is what I like. This is what I spend a lot of time thinking about.
I think it's human nature to guess.
Yeah.
You know, I was raised Christian. The more, Catholic, but the more I read into things and know things, it's like, I believe that Jesus, the scriptures of Jesus being real. Was he the last Messiah?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pending on if he died and rose again.
Mm-hmm. That's what it kind of hinges on, right?
And it's hard. God hasn't really talked to a lot of people recently, or maybe it's just those crazy homeless people we're seeing there. Mm-hmm. There's some UFO sightings now.
Yeah.
But like, for me to like honestly sit down and like say, oh, I believe this, and my heart doesn't, is that, and then it turns out to be real, is that going to send me to hell?
And that's an interesting point you bring up, because I have had experience. So what I was taught growing up is that, like, if you have a question, God won't leave you hanging. Like, he'll answer your question. And the way you know he has answered your question is if you get a warm feeling of contentment. If you think about it and you worry about it, then he's probably not answered. Like, if you feel an answer of surety, of like calmness, that's God talking to you.
But you could also be looking for that, like people who Holy Ghost.
Yeah, like confirmation bias. Like, I really want this thing. I feel good about it. Boom. So, like, outside of that context, I've had those feelings. It's like, whoa. Like, this is contradictory to what I grew up thinking. Like, I'm doing this thing and feeling fine about it. Like, and, you know, so it's tricky, because God doesn't talk to us like you'd read, like, in the Bible or the Book of Mormon in our regard as well. We believe in the Bible. We believe in the Book of Mormon. So
I'll tell you what I do think. I think you guys got it right. And it's what you guys have in common with the Indians, the spirit world.
Mm-hmm. The spirit world. That's our
as
terminology.
I go through, and that's an Indian terminology to Native Americans.
Interesting.
After you're like, we burned their skin because they were wrong. It's actually, you guys had the same thing.
Yeah.
You guys both believe in spirit world.
Yeah.
Which I find that term comforting.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a visitation dream with my uncle before that kept me fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Did I talk about it on the podcast? Okay, so I don't have to go into it. Watch some previous episodes. So I do find comfort, and I think that's as close as you're going to get the spirit world. So I think you guys are right on that stuff. Whether if people misobeyed and you burn their skins, a little crazy.
Yeah,
and we all have things wrong, but I think you guys hit the nail on the head, and it's common in other religions, and I think that's
yeah. The thought that there's nothing after this is a possibility, but that's
the
it's
scariest possibility.
Yeah,
because at least in hell you're existing and getting tortured. You're like, at least life doesn't go on without me.
Yeah, it's I just can't imagine. And there's a physics principle too, that matter can't be created or destroyed. It's just converted.
Yes, that's what I tell people when they're like, I can't eat this cookie because I'm going to gain 2 pounds. I said, it doesn't work like that. If it weighs an ounce, it's not going to turn into 2 pounds.
Right.
You could have that.
So there's that principle that I think, I honestly think it's kind of naive to think that we live in a purely empirical world where we can only see and measure things. Like, since the beginning of time, people have tried to explain reality through metaphysical worlds. And to think that there's not one at this point, just because we have more instruments to glean empirical data from, is kind of naive. And that's what really bugs me about atheists and people of that ilk, is that they don't know, just like we don't know. They just don't want to put the effort and the struggle into, like, honestly searching and discovering it. You know what I mean?
What do you think about agnostics? The saying, it's not that I don't believe in God, I just don't know.
I relate to it. I relate to it 100%. Like I said, I'll always be a Mormon, a Latter-day Saint. That's just who I am.
And they're great people. And
they're good. It's a good.
And it sounds like they could have everything wrong, but it sounds like they got a lot of the right things.
So you think about good people and good people that you've known that don't believe what you think, and you think of a God that is magnanimous and just. Everyone should be on the same playing field in that regard, And there's a lot of teachings in our church about how to reconcile the people that don't believe exactly like we believe, but maybe in the spirit world they'll start believing. There's a whole lot of stuff we could get into that's probably not right for the podcast, but I think good people everywhere are on the same footing, and that's what I like about the people here, man. I don't know of a person here, at least in the morning classes where I come, that I feel like is a bad. They're all good people, man.
Well, we got $125 hanging on the wall for over a year, and nobody's grabbed it.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's also
Nick Fikes.
we also
shout out Nick Fikes.
Nick Fikes. He made some money on Dogecoin and bought Bryan a month if he ever goes free.
Yeah, good
Bryan
old Nick Fikes.
Crashes. And we have gear, and I don't think any gear has gotten stolen.
Yeah,
there's definitely things that I've sold to people and forgotten to ring up that slipped through the cracks. But hey, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
There's
good people here. Come to Militia. There's good people.
Come to Militia.
Yeah.
So now you just had a career change.
I did. I've had a couple career changes over the last 3 years.
Let's talk about your big career, which was your white collar job, AT&T.
Yeah, I worked for AT&T. After the mission, I got started with a company called Spring Mobile. So I needed some money, and I thought it was AT&T, but in reality, it's a reseller of AT&T.
Oh, you worked for us. It's so funny. People don't know when they
don't know the difference.
But you could tell if you know.
Yeah. So I worked for a reseller for a couple years, and selling phones and
that's more expensive than you could get the plan at a non-reseller.
Sometimes the equipment might be more, but we sell the same plans. So they have some adjustment on the equipment. And that was right when smartphones became a thing. So I kind of got in on a good time when everyone was transitioning from that old Razor phone that was hot shit back in the days to the iPhone or the beginning Android phones.
Remember the one that played Snake?
Oh, dude, that was the Nokia. The original Nokia block phone.
I bet that was with the antenna.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I bet that was the most bought phone ever.
Possibly. Well, probably iPhones got it out.
No, not. It would have to be one specific iPhone.
Okay. You're talking about one version? Yeah, you're probably right.
I bet that one model was
right.
the most because everybody had it.
I played that Snake game so much.
What was your score?
Oh, I have no idea. I can't remember.
I think I was in the 700s.
Really?
You probably were higher.
I don't know, man. I played that game a lot.
Yeah, because you were in the cell phone store selling
hot stuff. Well, I wasn't selling them at that point. Well, they did have a few of them at that point, but at that point it was like Snake Game version 4, and I didn't like it anymore.
Yeah, not OG.
The original one where if you hit the wall and you died immediately, or you couldn't go through the walls,
or hit yourself,
yeah. So I started with AT&T with a reseller.
That was the first social media.
Yeah,
look at your Snake score.
Yeah,
my dick's this big. No,
yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, that's where I met the guy that I watched your season with. Daniel Graham was my boss. He became my good friend, and that's where I met him at. And then I did a couple summer sales jobs where you go out and sell door to door. So I'd quit spring and the summer to go do summer sales.
Were we selling some vacuums?
No, selling pest control and pest control or home security systems.
How'd that go?
Oh, it's the worst job in the world, man.
A lot of doors slammed in your face.
Oh, it's the worst. You feel like such a bad human doing that job, but I did it. And so then a summer job fell through, and I moved back to Arkansas, which is where my folks were at the time. And then I got in with corporate AT&T, so actual AT&T. And that's where I started kind of making a career out of it, and moved up the ranks to where I was in kind of a regional manager role in Bend, Oregon. At that point, I switched to a different company to sell advertisements for local businesses. So I got out of AT&T.
Which one was more corporate?
AT&T.
So, okay, let's talk about what's some of that bullshit, like corporate Kool-Aid.
Oh, God. Where do you
Let's
start?
hear the vent. Let's hear everybody. If you're in a corporate job selling cell phones under King Brie or a King Brie out there,
oh man,
who's drinking the Kool-Aid, right? Were you drinking some Kool-Aid?
I could never drink the Kool-Aid.
You never drank?
I never drank the Kool-Aid. I couldn't, and that's part of the reason why I quit. I couldn't.
What was like some of the Kool-Aid they wanted you to drink?
Well, they want you to be excited, right? We're a sales organization, and they want you to be excited and pumped. And part of the thing that really grind my gears is they bought DirecTV, which is a failing business. Nobody wants satellite TV. Well, they spent $60 billion buying it. So now what does that mean? That means from the shareholders down, they grind you into the dirt to get people to buy DirecTV. So you could sell 1 million phones. Bullshit. You made me $1 million. Bullshit. I need you to sell DirecTV. And that's what kind of got it. The other thing is I had a wonderful boss, a lady up in Portland, Danette Bailey, and they let her go for no reason. Restructuring. And this happened a lot with AT&T, but I felt a connection to her, so it really got on my nerves. I mean, she did her job. She did it well. And they're like, see you later. You're almost at retirement age. We don't want to pay you your pension. Get out of here. Yeah. It just, the corporate world is so cutthroat, especially when you get to a certain level. And I was in lower management. It's not like I was high up in the company.
No.
But, you get to a point where you realize that the corporate world does not care about your family or your mortgage or the food that you buy. You are just a number on a page. And Danette never treated us like this, but they treated her like that. And, she eventually stayed on with AT&T because the guy that was supposed to relocate down from Seattle never ended up. He's like, nah, fuck you.
And then they're like, oh, I saw what you did to that lady.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I'm next.
So she ended up staying on. And at that point, it's just like.
Because she was invested.
She was. She had that. She was a lifer. And to get rid of her right before her pension and retirement could kick in, it was a calculated accountant move. In accountants crunching numbers, who do we need to get rid of over the next 20 years to save X amount of, so that stuff, it really turned me off. To make up
for this DirecTV bullshit.
Yeah.
I told Steve we shouldn't have bought it.
Exactly. Stuff like that. So, there's just, and you'd go to these And there's a lot of cheating and lying. There's a common thing with DirecTV where you'd give somebody a free cell phone case and then they'd sign up for the streaming service for DirecTV. And then as a store, my store area got that number. And so we look like we're pushing products. In reality, it's just a paper wall of cards, you know, and I couldn't sleep at night, man, knowing that I wasn't comfortable with what I was doing 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day. And it really started to grind on me. So I didn't know how to get out. I didn't know how to extricate myself from.
Because you were probably, were you making six figures or close?
Close, yeah.
Close.
Over some years.
For a single guy.
Yeah, I had a house in Oregon, 5 acres, that I really loved. I loved it out there. And, I just made a decision. I had to transition out of that. I couldn't play the game to get higher. Like I couldn't force myself to do it. And
drink more Kool-Aid of a failing business.
At the level above me, you've got to make a gallon of Kool-Aid every morning and take it with you to do your job right. And I couldn't do that. So I went to a outside sales organization. I was over all of Central Oregon up to Washington, down to California, selling marketing and CRMs and print advertising.
CRM, what's that mean?
Customer relationship management tools. So it was basically a software program that allows you to keep track of your customers and automate stuff like email marketing,
Zen Planner,
stuff like that. There's a lot of them out there. Thrive is the one I sold. Thrive is what they renamed it to. So I did that for a couple years, and then when I got done with that, it was actually a Joe Rogan podcast. There's a guy named David Sinclair that talked about a supplement called nicotinamide mononucleotide, which is it's like a miracle substance molecule that reverses aging. So I got on to Alibaba, which you're familiar with, which is a sourcing platform for overseas manufacturing. And I found a manufacturer that sold nicotinamide mononucleotide. So I bought a kilo of it for about $3,500. So I was going to sell it on Amazon because after that podcast, I'm like, this is going to pop off and nobody's really selling it on Amazon. So I bought that kilo. I had to figure out how to make it into pill form. I bought a pill packer that I set in my kitchen, put up plastic, made sure it was all like
no dog hair.
Yeah, no dog hair. It was all sanitized, and I was in the kitchen
King
making
Bree
pills.
was in there looking like a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like you worked in a nuclear reactor.
Yeah, so I did that about a year before I left Dex, which is the company I was working for, and figured I wanted to make a career out of selling stuff on Amazon. Did it work? I sold gangbusters on the nicotinamide mononucleotide, but the NMM is what it was for short. But the company that I was sourcing from was in Wuhan, which, if everyone recalls, was the...
Never heard of that.
Right?
Where's that? Is that in Seattle?
No. Yeah, Seattle. I wish.
Is that in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, no, that's in China. If people remember something called the coronavirus, that's where it came from.
I've never heard of it.
Mm. Yeah, so I felt in danger that I was selling this stuff online, knowing where it was from. And like the big players will buy like thousands of kilos and then have it tested. I wasn't a big player. So I felt like I could do the same thing that I was doing with that supplement with other physical products. And that's what brought me here. I sold my house. I moved in. I could help my family, my little brother, my mom, my dad, and I could start my own business online. And that's what got me out here.
That's awesome. Yeah. So which lifestyle you like better? The corporate world with probably some good money, probably drove a nice car.
Yeah.
Or out of your family.
Yeah. I like it better here.
Getting by.
What's that?
Just getting by.
Yeah, I like it better out here, man. Like I like it. I love Oregon. I always say I'll probably retire there if I ever get money. Like I loved the vibe out there.
You don't think you'll leave the country?
New Zealand is enticing. I've thought about New Zealand a couple times.
You got to go where your money's. It depends on how you retire.
That's fair.
And
But New Zealand, they say, like in a nuclear apocalypse scenario, New Zealand might be the safest.
What about Old Zealand? What's wrong with that?
Old Zealand?
Yeah.
Fuck that place.
Everybody's all New Zealand this, New Zealand that. I'm gonna retire in Zealand.
Yeah, Zealand. Yeah. So yeah, I like this. I like being able to come to the gym every morning, see my friends, work towards something. When Pops passed, I figured I needed to do something a little bit more stable. And I didn't love the process of source. It's complicated to source a product that you think is going to sell.
I know. I source all my gear.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Rev gear, and now with All Fuel, I can only probably do shorts and gis now. And all my shirts are US, but yeah, I source too.
Yeah, it's complicated, and it's what's gonna sell versus your margins on the profit versus Amazon. One of the members here, Paul, shout out to Paul,
good old
works
Paul.
at Amazon, and he's asking me a whole bunch of questions about fees and stuff, and they put everything on the seller. Yeah. Amazon takes a loss on literally nothing.
I've had somebody who works higher up in Amazon like, oh no, we need a certain level of returns and a certain level of defective this and that. And that's good for us. And I was like, what? It doesn't make sense. Then after hearing your end, yeah, it's our product.
Yeah.
And then hearing on Paul's end, like, oh no, we transport that. Doesn't matter how it ends up in the bin, but it ends up in the bin.
And then they wholesale them and you get 2 cents,
Yeah, then he's like, I make sure after Bryan told me that, everything goes in that bin nice.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought it was all Amazon. They don't tell us that it's
the seller.
It's the seller. Because they want it. Because something breaks or somebody has a bad day and they slam dunk a package.
That's on me.
That's on you, not on Amazon.
No. The only thing Amazon does, if they lose, they lost a whole shipment for me once, and they did reimburse me. But they lost the whole shipment, so it's like,
Yeah, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, so.
Hey, take some of this money we printed.
Yeah, right.
Don't worry, we'll just put it on the buyer.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did that for a couple years, and then I transitioned into the tech world because I have an interest in like cryptocurrency and blockchain technology.
So you bought some cryptocurrency?
Yeah. Shout out to Clayton Korsberg. Showed me what Coinbase was in 2016.
Nice. You got in that 2016.
Yeah, he was a guy that worked at AT&T with me in Bend, Oregon. He's still there. Yeah. Shout out to Clayton. He changed my life kind of. So.
Nice. Yeah. So you bought into what coin?
Ethereum.
So you didn't even get Bitcoin or Litecoin?
Bitcoin, no. I was never sold on Bitcoin because, and I don't know, this might be boring for people to listen to, but Bitcoin's just a store of value. It has value because we say it has value just like the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, it's digital gold.
Yeah,
and it also,
that's what they call it.
Well, I believe the value comes with transactions.
Yeah, it has value because we say it has value, and it has utility because it's used. But outside of just saying it has value, it doesn't have value. It's just a digital record.
Yeah, it's ones and zeros.
It's ones and zeros, and that's all binary code is. It's just ones and zeros.
And it's only popular. It's only high because it's popular.
Yeah, and Ethereum at the time was under $100.
Wow.
And it had a huge community behind it. So if you look at the tech world and you see what developers are joining which products, 90% of the developers in that space are working on Ethereum projects. Like that is the way it's going. So, yeah, I got really interested in that. And I was thinking out here, I knew when Pops passed, I knew I had to switch careers. And that was, the momentum was crazy at that point. So I'm like, let me jump into this. So
you bought a bunch of Ethereum coins because somebody put you onto it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once you bought them, you learned more about it.
Learned a lot more about them, a lot more about the space and tech in general and where it's moving. And I want to be a part of it, man. Like I want to be a part of it.
And now the bugs kind of bit. So you decided to take this into an occupation.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I did a course at the University of Central Florida for JavaScript. and all of the associated packages and modules and things called a full stack development, web development. And
so websites, apps.
Yeah, websites, apps, databases, servers, all that sort of stuff. And then from there, I'm going to transition and learn more about Solidity, which is the smart programming language of Ethereum. And hopefully that's where I get a job one day. Yeah.
So you think Ethereum's the wave of the future?
I think Ethereum has the most utility. Take, for example, Elon Musk just bought Twitter, and he's saying one of his main goals is to verify every user, which is an impossible goal, really, but is possible through an immutable blockchain like Ethereum.
What do you mean verify every user?
So you have blue checks.
Yes.
So that you are verified human. But 90, I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out of my ass.
No, that just means you're like important.
It means you're verified. It means you are a person. You are this person.
No, the blue check means like this is an athlete account. This is a celebrity account.
Yeah, exactly. You have a blue check, right?
Yeah. You can't have it.
No, that's what everyone's going to have it.
No, fuck Elon Musk.
Elitist Coach Galicchio over here.
Because if they took that away,
you wouldn't give me a blue check, Coach.
If someone took that away from me, I couldn't get it again.
Give me a blue check. No,
I don't
have Twitter, but like
I got my one on Instagram, and it's like that's just my little bit of clout I have in the digital world.
No, everyone should have one.
No, fuck that. Because Lake Winnie fucked up.
Lake Winnie?
Lake Winnie. I'm buying a pass for me, Steph, and one of our students out of the goodness of my heart. Mm-hmm. And they said sale ends May 5th. May 5th yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Good. We went May 5th because the website wasn't working. I went there. They're like, no, it ended yesterday. May 5th it ends.
Oh,
so we won't honor it.
Screw those guys.
So I went back and I was like, I'm going to send them one from my Twitter because it has a check mark. My Instagram because it has a check mark. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that might persuade them a little more to see it my way. I mean, we do family fun days there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I would honor something for them. So fuck them for that.
Mm-hmm. Did they end up honoring it?
No, I'm still talking. The guy's like, one of the lackeys called me up and he's like, I could give you food passes when you come. I was like, no. Chill out. We don't buy food there.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been seeing billboards of Lake Winnie out and about.
Well, I'm probably still going to get passes, but then it's like no family fun days there. We're going to go find a better water park.
Yeah.
Travel and shut down the gym.
Yeah. But that's the blue checks. If you get over that you have it and everyone doesn't,
then it's useless.
Well, no, it's verified. One of the problems that we have as a society is we don't know where information is. Like a lot of the people that sow disinformation and discontent and controversy online are bot accounts. Like verifiably bot accounts. Like if you did 2 minutes of research, you'd find that account was just created 2 weeks ago and this is the only post they have, and now they've created a shitstorm of controversy. Like it's ripping apart the fabric of, in my opinion, and this is a little dramatic, but it's ripping apart the fabric of what we have as a country. There's no reliable source anymore. Yeah, and that's something the blockchain can resolve.
But it could also be tainted.
Everything can be tainted.
Everything could be tainted. So it's all the same in the end.
Not necessarily. There's a better way to do it. That's what I think. And that's my hope. That's why I'm trying to get into the field.
There's also a compounding of stupidity. I think the media and social media make things way worse, but it's like it compounds each other. It's what's it called when you have that number and the other number?
A factor of.
Yeah, a factor. It's not like 2 times 2. It's 2 and
2 to the factor of 10.
Yeah. It's like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's most of our problems. Nobody needs to hear everybody's opinions on everything because people have different opinions on things.
But if you could remove the portion of those opinions that are just troll accounts by giving everyone a blue check, might be a better place. Might be a better place to have discourse.
Listen, I need that check so Lake Winnie stops fucking with me.
Come on,
and if you and Bobby go get it, and I'm like, don't be stupid. We'll do the fun night.
Yeah.
But Give us the right price.
Give him the right price, Lake Winnie. Come on, what are you doing?
Come on, what are you doing?
What are you doing, Lake Winnie?
And it's like, I'll just never talk about it. I'm like, yeah, no, that place is the worst.
Mm.
And I'm more inclined to poop in a pool. No, you want to know what my attitude is going then?
That got me. That was good.
I'm like, all right, maybe I'll pay full price and go in there and steal $60 worth of stuff or do $60 worth of damage. That's not right.
That's not right.
That's not right.
We'll get them to give you a discount.
But that's how my heart felt at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Emotions calmed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah, for sure.
So you were talking actually about something interesting. You read an article about the housing market.
Yeah.
Because things are crazy right now.
They're a little out of control. Yeah, and I know a lot of members here are looking for housing and, trying to find a new place to live, and it's difficult.
It's kind of funny. Interest rates are up and more inventory's coming around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's one of those things. The article that I was referencing has to do with the commercial backed mortgages as opposed to the income-based mortgages that caused the 2008 crash. But you think about the mortgage crisis for commercial businesses crashing, which is about 1/3 the market of residential. But you compound that with interest rates and then China going through kind of a 2008 collapse on their own housing market.
They're having a collapse right now in China?
Yeah, that's what the article said. And again, check. I'm not a resource of truth, but that's what I understand from what I've read. And they've defaulted this month on billions of dollars of loans.
China.
Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things that's like, who knows what's really going on? It's hard to imagine the market going higher. It's insane.
Money's so wacky.
It's whack. That's again cryptocurrency and an immutable chain.
That's
to track it all.
wacky too.
It's wacky, but wacky.
It's all wacky.
You know what's wacky? Like if I told you, hey coach, I know this cryptocurrency and it is controlled by one entity and they can print as much as they want at any time they want, and we have no say in it, you should buy into it. What would you say? No, right?
No.
But that's the US dollar. That's the US dollar.
Yeah, but it's been like, it's the Bible. It's been there before you were born.
Does
So
that
you
make it
can't
right?
question.
Does that make it right? I don't know.
No, that makes it tradition.
It makes it tradition.
That's a hard thing.
And that's a hard thing.
a cemented tradition. And countries going to war tried to unhinge that tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got their freedom they deserved.
Yeah,
You got to think if cryptocurrency is going to take over.
I think there'll be some bloodshed.
There'll be some blood if there hasn't been already.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I think there's an entrenched, wealthy community. Call it whatever you want. If you're a conspiracy theorist, you might call it the World Economic Forum. You might call it the Illuminati.
NWO.
Yeah, the New World Order, NWO. And again, this is non-fact checked stuff that I'm talking about right now. But like, I think there is
Bilderberg meetings.
Yeah. I mean, these things are all verifiable.
Yes.
Like those organizations exist.
And there has been direct quotes.
Yeah.
And there has been talks about how this virus at the John Hopkins meeting was supposed to go down in
if you think about just humanity in general, who has purely altruistic intentions? I would posit probably nobody. Like, you're just doing this out of the good of your heart? No, you're in it for something. And if you think about that, cryptocurrency is the antithesis of that, meaning it can't be controlled by a single entity. It won't be controlled by a single entity, and you can't change anything on the ledger. So you can't do the Enron collapse where you keep reporting false numbers because you can trace those numbers back to a verifiable source. Like if all companies put their accounting ledgers on the blockchain, we would be in a much better financial situation because everything would be transparent. So
like reports would have to report to this blockchain that can get deleted.
Yeah, it can't be.
So what is this blockchain? Is it like a store? It could store things?
Yeah, a blockchain is just chained information. It's chained data. And because this chain is after this chain, you can always find the index of it. You can always say, okay, this is the block I need to verify right here. And then you can chain that block to another block that's been verified. And if all your data is stored on it, it's immutable because there's 6,000 different nodes around the country that all have that same blockchain. And if you're a bad actor on that chain and you try and go back and change information that's been posted or verified before, you are in trouble now. You're the bad actor. Your stake will be
slashed.
Wait
a minute. Let me pause you 1 second.
Okay.
So basically, if I take these millions of ones and zeros, it would basically just access the information. Is that what like a blockchain is? Like if I have the exact coding of one Ethereum with these specific snowflake of Ethereum, and there was information written on that, I guess it's written across 600 different servers, or you said no. As long as I type that into something,
you can go to that block and see that transaction where your Ethereum was created.
And anybody could see that Ethereum.
Now, there's a level of anonymity because they're just numbers, right? My Ethereum address is just a string of, I don't know how many characters, 48 numeric characters.
Okay. So
alphanumeric, so there's some letters
over 100.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all verifiable. And that's the beauty of it. Like, it can't be changed. That's why, like, if we as a society are struggling to find reliable sources of information, if you put all journalism into a system, and it's kind of hard to conceptualize because it's just a blockchain right now. But if you created a user interface that interfaced with that blockchain and you ran all of your news and journalism through it, you could see the spot where that information was originated, and you could follow the chain up to Fox News where it's disseminated to you across the TV.
So if it was wrong, you could see who made it was
wrong.
So
you're saying, okay, 2 + 2 is 2. 2 + 2 is 2. This chain, 2 + 2 is 2. Now Fox News is saying, we got this information in, this is it, or CNN. I don't want to get political, but those are the news channels.
So yeah.
And they said 2 + 2 is 5. And you'd be like, whoa, wait a minute.
How would you know they reported to the blockchain?
Well, that's what I'm saying. There has to be a mechanism of which,
like, so you would say
all information is passed from point to point to point and recorded on that chain.
So this would be like, oh, this is the weather blockchain, and all our weather reports would have
something like that. Yeah,
to verify and could be proven wrong. Put your nuts on a table and load it to this blockchain.
Yeah, exactly. And if everyone had a check and everyone had the ability to interface with that chain, which doesn't exist now. Like, this could be a completely different application from what I'm envisioning right now because it is so new. But these are just my ideas of ways that we could solve complex societal problems in an efficient and technological way.
Yes, because somebody's going to be like, this is the official registry. No, this is the official registry.
Yeah, there's all
bloodshed.
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
There's going to be so much.
But humans, if you go back a million years, humans have always been killing other humans. Like, there's no way to get rid of controversy. If that happens, Jesus is back and we're all happy, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
There's going to be bloodshed over blockchain.
I hope not. I hope not. I'm a little dramatic in my interpretation of it.
What do you think the future is going to hold then?
Oh, who knows, man? I talk to Chip a lot about Russia when he comes in. I try not to read much about it online because it gets me all dark.
It's like a shortcut.
What's that?
Chip's a shortcut.
Yeah.
He's Cliff Notes.
Yeah, he's my Cliff Notes.
Chip Notes.
Thanks, Chip. Yeah.
Like, what should I be thinking about this? And then I'll just weigh both sides. If I was a president, he'd be in my cabinet.
Oh, for sure. Chip for president, almost. Vice president? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd vote for him.
Yeah.
President of Georgia, we got to start.
Yeah.
And then he could take it on.
So I don't know what the future holds. It's confusing, I'll tell you that. But again, back to our original conversation, you just got to try and navigate the world in the most honest way that you can. That's my interpretation of it.
So if you're a betting man, what's the percentage that you think blockchain's going to take off?
100.
Whoa.
I'm pretty
Not
wild.
even 99.
No. It's 100. In my opinion.
I think in order, it's got to get cheaper. It's got to get cheaper for that's my theory. It's got to crash for everybody to buy in again.
Yes.
And I think it's going to have record crashes than record spikes.
You see, but that's where I like Ethereum over Bitcoin, because Bitcoin people buy to use in transactional instances. Ethereum is the mechanism by which blockchain and companies can use to verify data, as well as being a form of value just by owning a coin. So like JP Morgan is integrating Ethereum blockchains or ERC20 blockchains or layer 2 blockchains, all running on this network. And right now fees are high. It's hard to do stuff, but as they add these extra technological mechanisms to make it easier to interface with, I think it's going to explode. I really do. I think we're in 1998, 1995, maybe World Wide Web. That's that. And I could be wrong, but if you're, I'm a little bit of a wild betting man. I'm betting 100%.
All right. I think you got to go down and go up again.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see big major hiccups.
Yeah, and I think
it's so volatile, but I think it'll probably be fewer and far in between. And then if it goes up high, probably going to come down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just spotting it.
Yeah, for sure. And having been in the space through very many catastrophic crashes, it doesn't even raise my
also
heart rate anymore.
There's a point where people in general now get it because it's based on transactions and interest. When people stop talking about it, it cools off.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And that's what it is, because people can only flap their gums for 2 years.
And people like me who don't really know what they're talking about. You're like, does that guy really know what he's talking about?
Just a little more than you.
Yeah.
He's a semester ahead. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's yeah. How did we get here? Yeah, that's what I want to get into as a profession. Somewhere in that space.
Well, Bryan, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Coach.
You're amazing. If anybody's hiring somebody to make a website, King Bree will make it for you. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, no sponsors for me, but all of the sponsors of the podcast, Elite Clean, 10-8 Personal Training, and Affordable Roofing. They're all great guys. You should really...
Whitworth and Brown.
We
don't know who Brown is.
We don't know Brown, but we can verify Mr. Whitworth. He's A. Okay.
Give him a blue check mark. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week.